at the International Strategic Communication Summit 2026. At outset, I wish to extend my sincere gratitude to Director of Communication for convening this distinguished gathering, and Mr. Professor Burhanettin Duran and his esteemed colleagues for the thoughtfulness, energy, and dedication they have invested in bringing it to life. Of course, I'll start with the battlefield and how it goes so far and lately with the perspective of defense industry. And as all we know that the battlefield is no longer defined by geography alone. And this information has become an inseparable component of modern conflict. It shapes public opinion, fracturates alliances, and erodes the national will. At times, it can produce more decisive outcomes than conventional weapon systems. We have witnessed on more than one occasion how a false narrative can alter the course of events on the ground, how genuine operational success can be obscured or undermined by information offensive. Information is a weapon of war. For this reason, defense industry and strategic communication are no longer separate domains. They are both constitutive elements of the security architecture. Today, the world is crossing a new strategic threshold. A multipolar order is taking shape. Global power competition is deepening. Hybrid threats and conventional conflicts are converging on the same stage. The concrete manifestation of this shift is visible across the global security landscape. Let us look at the landscape together. In the 2 decades following the attacks of 11 of September 2001, the global security architecture was built largely around the counterterrorism. Asymmetric threats, non-state actors, and the terror networks moved to the center of strategy documents, defense budgets, and force structures. Today, we have faced a fundamentally different reality. Nation states are once again directly confronting one another on the battlefield. The Russia and Ukraine war is defining conflict of our era, a full spectrum of war in which military force, information warfare, and the industrial capacity have been weaponized in equal measure. What sustains a front line is not a military doctrine alone. It is industrial capacity and replenishment timelines, production rates, and the stockpile depth have proven to be decisive. Countries are not simply fielding platforms. They are deploying their industrial ecosystems. This conflict delivers an ambiguous message. The defense industry is not merely a one component of warfare. It is a measure of nations' capacity to fight and to endure. In a very real sense, it represents the war itself. The conflicts of the recent years have also laid bare how profoundly the concept of warfare has been transformed. Unmanned systems have redrawn the boundaries of the battlefield. From land to sea, from air domain to information space, small, fast, and cost-effective platforms have challenged the dominance of the conventional heavy forces and forced every major military in the world to rethink its doctrine. At this point, Turkey's UAVs and UCAVs platforms did not merely achieve export success, they played a pioneering role in reshaping the very concept of modern combat. Likewise, electronic warfare and the cyber operations have emerged as invincible yet decisive dimensions of conflict. Space has become a new arena of the competition. Satellite constellations, commercial imaging capacity, and secure communication infrastructure have become inseparable components of the military power projection. Artificial intelligence is enhancing situational awareness, accelerating decision cycles, and optimizing logistic chains. Software has become a strategic variable of equal weight to hardware. The most critical conclusion to be drawn from all of this transformation is following. Today's defense industry architecture is being shaped on the battlefield itself. Real-time feedback from the field directly determines both the pace and the direction of industrial adaptation. One of the most fundamental factors behind Turkey's success in the defense industry is precisely this close and continuous dialogue between the field and the industry, which is real agile approach. We all witness that. Those who adapt rapidly endure. Those who are slow to adapt do not merely fall behind in competition. They become strategically vulnerable. This transformation on the battlefield has a direct and measurable consequences in the global security economy. The world is not experiencing temporary, cyclical upturn in defense spending. It is entering a structural era of rearmament. According to CIPRI data, global military expenditure reached $2.7 trillion in 2024, recording a year-on-year increase above 9%. One of the sharpest rise in the post-Cold War era. More than 149 countries increased their military spending at the same time. At the 2025 Hague Summit, NATO allies adopted a new framework targeting a minimum 3.5% GDP for core defense spending, with combined defense and the security-related target of 5% by year of 2035. A recent analysis published by J.P. Morgan Chase Center for the Geopolitics offers a compelling framework for understanding this moment. The report identifies three interlocking dynamics driving with the structural shift, the accelerating pace of disruptive technology, intensifying a great power competition, and the growing strategic autonomy of allied nations. Each of these dynamics reinforces the others, and together they are fundamentally altering the calculus of industrial power. The post-Cold War model of defense industry, optimized for cost efficiency, just-in-time supply chain, and episodic procurement, has proven insufficient for the demands of today's multi-front strategic competition. Surge capacity has been eroded. Sub-tier supply chain has become concentrated and fragile. The acquisition to production gap has widened. And critically, the speed of innovation has outpaced the capacity to manufacture at scale. The lesson is clear. Resilience in the defense industry does not emerge from a single measure. It requires layered capacity built simultaneously across production methods, supplier network, strategic stockpiles, financing support, and workforce development. This is precisely the model of Turkey has been building, not as a response to the crisis, but as a deliberate long-term strategy. So how is the Turkey responding to this rapidly transforming environment? Turkey's transformation in the defense industry is far more than a quantitative expansion. It is a qualitative and structural transformation in the fullest sense. In the final quarter of the 20th century, our domestic content ratio stood below 20%. Today, that figure exceeds 80%. This is not a change in numbers. It is a transformation narrative strategic from strategic dependency to strategic autonomy. Today, Turkey's defense aerospace ecosystem comprises more than 4,000 companies, over 100,000 direct jobs, a turnover exceeding $20 billion, and exporting surpassing $10 billion to 185 countries in 2025 alone. These figures do not represent an abstract growth story. They are the tangible reflection of a nation capability architecture, an original design capacity, and sustainable depth of industrial competence. I wish to respectfully acknowledge the decisive role His Excellency President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's leadership, guidance, and unwavering support in making this transformation possible. Placing this journey in a global context makes its significance even clearer. Recent reports characterize Turkey as a rising agile player in the evolving global defense power map. A country with battlefield-proven systems, a flexible production model, and the capacity to offer defense capability as an operational package rather than standalone platforms. Looking forward ahead, 2035, a defense industry power will not be determined by who spends the most, but who produces the fastest, who builds the deepest supply chains, who translates battlefield lessons into products most rapidly, and who can convert alliance networks into industrial strength. Turkey is building precisely along these lines. Now, the question is, what are the mechanisms that have made this transformation and this adaptation to rapidly evolving an operational environment possible? The answer is clear. First and most, decision speed. The simplification of bureaucratic process in the defense industry is no longer a luxury. It is a strategic necessity. Ensuring that operational requirements precede the pace of the system is only possible through fast, flexible, and streamlined decision mechanisms. The steps that we have taken in this area directly feed the competitiveness of our ecosystem. Second, research and development investment in future. Producing today's technology is not enough. We must invest in tomorrow's technology today. With this understanding, we continuously strengthen our research and development function and place original knowledge generation in artificial intelligence, autonomous systems, cyber, and space at the top of our priorities. The third, supply chain depth. Through the programs we have initiated in Secretariat of Defense Industry, YETEN and ADEP, we systematically assess and develop the financial, human, production, and the test infrastructure competencies of our companies. We always keep in mind that a strong platform cannot stand without a strong sub-tier supply chain. And finally, human capital. The collaboration models we have built within the university industry government triangle are converting the energy of our young and educated population into the invention capacity of defense industry. Taken together, these elements are moving Turkey's defense industry beyond pure production capacity into a domain that encompasses all the scope of strategic autonomy. Distinguished participants, at the core of Turkey's defense transformation is the National Technology Initiative, built on sovereign design capability, end-to-end systems integration, and the mastery of the critical technologies from the ground up. Artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, space systems, advanced materials, and the software-intensive platforms from the focal areas of this initiative. We are not merely producing equipment. We are building the concept and infrastructure of future. The most powerful fuel driving this initiative is our human capital. Turkey is among the rare countries endowed with a young, dynamic, and a highly educated population. This youth is not merely a demographic asset. The generation emerging from our universities, laboratories, research centers possesses the capacity to perform at the world standards in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, software development, and original systems engineering. Human capital is as much as a production multiplier and a sovereignty multiplier as it is a social asset. For this reason, we treat the investment in the people as equivalent to investment in platforms and systems. The structure of the ecosystem that brings this vision to life is equally critical. Large defense companies, agile SMEs, innovative startups, universities, and research centers operates within a synergy that feeds and enlarges one another's capacity. This structure generates both speed and quality. Ideas move ahead from prototypes to mature into systems, systems develop into operational capacity. Alongside the technological depth, we are also actually aware of the global supply chain vulnerabilities that have come to define in this era of strategic competition. One of the most critical underlying factors in the growing dependence on rare earth elements, materials that are indispensable to advanced defense systems, yet sourced from variety number of the countries worldwide. Turkey is fortunate to be among them. Recognizing the strategic importance of this reality at an early stage, Secretariat of Defense Industry, SSB, and the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources undertook a comprehensive joint effort that resulted in national report and a roadmap on critical and strategic materials. This was not a reactive measure. It was a deliberate act of long-term industrial foresight. Among the rare earth elements identified in this group, several carry particular significance of defense industry, like praseodymium, neodymium, samarium, terbium, and dysprosium. These elements are essential components in the permanent magnets used across a wide range of advanced defense applications, from electrical motors and the propulsion systems to precision guided munitions and the next generation sensor arrays. Turkey is actively advancing the necessary work to develop its domestic capacity in these materials, positioning itself not merely as a resource holder, but as a sovereign actor across full chain from extraction to application. The capacity we have built through the National Technology Initiative, our human capital, and our growing command over strategic materials is no longer contributing solely to Turkey's security. It is contributing to security of the nations with which we partner. This brings us directly to the matter of partnership and cooperation. Turkey's understanding of defense industry cooperation is founded on long-term model of capacity building that extends far beyond the platform sales. We do not simply sell the systems to our partner countries. We develop together. We offer to develop together. We offer to produce together. We offer technology, transfer of technology. We offer provide the training and the build sustainable industrial relationship. Security, after all, and is constructed upon reliable and enduring partnerships that we believe. When the countries produce together, they do not merely share systems. They share knowledge, they share plans, they invest in the future together. This model of cooperation makes mutual benefit, long-term value creation, and the building of a strategic trust possible. Technology transfer also carries meaningful weight within the framework. Turkey knows that the value of this path from its own experience. Our journey from the dependency to autonomy taught us firsthand how technology transfer can transform local capacity. For this reason, we understand and support the aspirations of the partner nations seeking to embark on similar journey, and we stand alongside them as they do. The growing determination of emerging markets to strengthen their own defense ecosystems opens a highly meaningful new geography of partnership for Turkey. In our relationship with those countries, we prioritize software integration, maintenance, and sustainment infrastructure, digital support architecture, and the joint industrial capacity building, which well beyond the boundaries of platform sales. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, the future security architecture will be shaped by the combined and integrated impact of strategic vision, technological depth, industrial capacity, human capital, and international cooperation. The nations that invest in these areas with consistency, determination, and foresight will define the stability and the resilience of architecture of tomorrow. Turkey is advancing along this path with confidence, a sense of responsibility, and a clear sense of purpose. Under the coordination of Secretariat of Defense Industry, SSP, the Turkish defense industry will continue to contribute to this evolving architecture through indigenous capability, responsible innovation, strong partnerships, and sustained investment in national technology initiative and our human capital. Allow me to close with a message I wish to state clearly. The Turkish defense industry has delivered a strong export performance. This performance carries a strategic importance for sustainability of our ecosystem, and it is a source of justified pride. But export is not the ultimate goal for us. It is only means for the long-term strategic cooperation. We are building our defense capacity on the foundation of stability and peace. Every system we develop, every partnership we forge, and every export we make serves the sustainability of that foundation. A strong defense industry does not threaten peace, it fortifies the ground upon which peace stands. Turkey places a regional and a global peace as a foremost priority. Our defense capacity is positioned as guarantor of the peace in the past, today, in the future. The Turkish defense industry, guided by this understanding, will continue to serve as a strong pillar of our national security, a trusted partner for the friendly and the allied nations, and the constructive contributors to regional and global stability. Once again, I would like to sincerely thank the Directorate of Communications to Mr. Professor Burhanettin Duran and his entire team for dedication and made this important platform possible. And thank you very much.
Sayın Başkanım, çok teşekkür ederim.
Thank you so much, Professor Görgün.
Thank you.